Good evening and welcome to another special edition of Straight Talk. I'm Eugene Chan and I'm thrilled to have you all join us right here on the grounds of the Hong Kong Stadium where the Rugby Sevens was held on the weekend. We will talk with the CEO of Hong Kong China Rugby, a former French rugby union player and a Hong Kong China women's rugby team member and get their take on how our Rugby Sevens became magnificent. Our first guest is the CEO of Hong Kong China Rugby since 2017, Robbie McRobbie, recognized with an MBE for his philanthropy and UK relations. Robbie is a true champion of using sports for social good. Welcome, Robbie.
Thank you, Eugene.
Great to have you. This 2024 Rugby 7 event has been a tremendous success. And you told me earlier, it has been like the 30th year in the Hong Kong Stadium, but I'm sure it's gone way longer than that. Can you share with the viewers what's behind all these years of hard work?
Of course. So the idea for a Sevens international tournament in Hong Kong first came up in 1976. Three chaps in a bar where many good ideas are originated, decided that they wanted to host an international rugby competition, but to do it for 15-a-side rugby was very expensive. Flights, hotels, logistics. So the idea was, why not use the shortened, abbreviated form of the game, Sevens? Now, Sevens have got a long history, but to be honest, it hadn't really captured the international imagination. So to try and organise a tournament based on Sevens was a very novel idea. So in 1976, the first one was held in the old Hong Kong Football Club. Now, Football Club, it's not where it is now. It was on the other side of Sports Road. Was a very nice old ground, had a capacity of maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people, but right from the word go, the tournament seemed to capture the vibe of the city and became very, very popular with international rugby. So over the next few years, interest grew, the spectator numbers grew, until it came to a point where actually Hong Kong Football Club could no longer accommodate the size of the competition.
Right. Yeah.
At that point then, they moved to the government stadium. And the government stadium, of course, is on the site of where we are now, but it's not this stadium, because in 1992, I'm sure as we'll talk about, the government made the decision to shut down, to knock down the government stadium and build this magnificent new Hong Kong stadium.
Right, Robbie, as we discussed earlier, this has been a regular sold-out event until the pandemic, which we saw for 3 years. And how do we ticket sales this year go?
I'm so excited to say that last Thursday at 2:30 in the afternoon, we put up the sold-out signs for the first time since 2000.
And there's 40,000 people.
40,000 people every day. So we sell 3-day tickets, sold out. So, you know, for us, that's such an important milestone for Hong Kong China Rugby, for our rugby community, and for the city. So we've had a number of years where there were no Sevens tournaments at all because of the pandemic, and then we came back. We were the first international tournament back in Hong Kong,
right,
just as the restrictions were ending, November 2022. We got 27,000 people, which was really good because there still were very few international travellers. Clock forward to last year, up to 32,000, and the overseas travellers were starting to come back. And then we've worked really, really hard to re-engage with our traditional overseas fans,
right,
and get to a point where now this year, sold out.
Right, Robbie, as I walk in, I see a lot of faces from all over the world. What will be the makeup between local and international travellers?
So because we have now an e-ticketing app, we're able to really accurately track where the purchasers and the users of the tickets are coming from, just by looking at the telephone number code. So far with the public ticket sales, we know that 42% of purchases are from overseas. Now when we factor in because the corporate tickets go to central points and then get distributed, so it takes us a little bit longer to really dig down into the data, but we expect that figure to hover somewhere between probably 35 to 40% overseas visitors.
Yeah, Robbie, as you told us earlier, like 3 years there was no rugby sevens at all, and looks like your finance must be tight at a particular time. So how important is a success contributing to the development of the Hong Kong rugby scene?
Absolutely critical. 95% of our annual revenue comes from this tournament. Now, we were lucky going into the pandemic because we had some very astute board members, some Scottish chartered accountants who had been our directors of finance, and they'd made sure that we went in with robust reserves in the bank. But as we went through COVID, we were eating up those reserves, and we knew that there was a fiscal cliff coming.
Right.
Survival was really in question if we had been able to not host the tournament for a further extended period of time.
Right. Robbie, as you said earlier, that when it first started, the Sevens wasn't that special, especially amongst the world, not even Hong Kong, right? So why is it so special about our Rugby Sevens in Hong Kong? What is it, Hong Kong the city? What makes it so special, in your view?
It's a really good question. I get asked it a lot. I mean, I think we have to remember that we're part of the World 7 Series. So there's ourselves and 7 other tournaments around the world. And the rugby content is basically the same. So as much as the rugby is fantastic and everybody enjoys watching the best teams in the world in action, I don't think it's the rugby by itself which makes our tournament so special. I think it is the city. I think when people come and experience Hong Kong, they remember if they've been before or they realise for the first time, we've got so many wonderful positives. We've got an incredible transport system, the infrastructure, the logistics, amazing hotels, the vibrant nightlife, the bars, the restaurants, and an amazingly safe city.
Right.
So I think that people love coming here because they love outside of the stadium exploring the city and enjoying themselves.
Right.
I think that's really important. I think for people in Hong Kong, this event has become Hong Kong's Mardi Gras. It's become our carnival. So the people of Hong Kong embrace it. They come here to have a good time, and they meet together with this amazing community of Hong Kong fans from all over the world, and that's a really, really exciting mix.
Let me ask you a direct question. I'm sure the other Sevens events in the rest of the world, do they have music and people that happy like what they're in Hong Kong right now?
Sure, we share best practice. So there's you'll see a lot of similarities in Dubai and Perth and Vancouver, but no one's got a south stand like we've got a south stand.
Right there, isn't it? South
right
stand.
Behind us.
Right, and I heard that there will be a new decision of move this event to the new K-Tech Sports Complex next year. What will be is it better for Hong Kong, or there'll be more challenges we are facing?
It's absolutely better for us. I think we have to remember that as much as this Hong Kong stadium is beautiful, it's iconic, but it's 30 years old, and behind the scenes, it's creaking. So, when you look at things like the changing rooms, we have 4 teams sharing one changing room, the media centre, the overall facilities are very tired. Kai Tak Sports Park is state-of-the-art. It's one of the few stadiums in the world that's actually been built with a Rugby Sevens tournament in mind. There's 24 changing rooms.
24?
I think the experience for everybody, for the athletes, for the spectators, for the media, for the staff, the volunteers.
So that will really make Hong Kong huge. Even more attractive when you have all the state-of-the-art facilities.
For sure, and not just for the Rugby Sevens. I mean, Kai Tak has got to be a catalyst for the Hong Kong sports events industry. We have to embrace this opportunity to bring more events and build events into like the likes of the Hong Kong Sevens.
Right. Will there be more plans to bring more rugby international events to Hong Kong, not just the Sevens?
We've got big plans, Eugene. Yeah, we love what we've created over the last 4 decades here.
Right.
But we want to do more. We know our fans have got an appetite for it. We know people love coming to Hong Kong. So why not? Let's bring more great events to populate Kai Tak Sports Park.
Well, Robbie, I'm going to ask you the last personal question. I know you've been on this post for like 20 years, definitely not a short time, and this will be your last year as the CEO of the Hong Kong Rugby Union. How do you feel? What will you want to share with the Hong Kong viewers? And also, what will be your plan in the future? And most importantly, what will be the good Hong Kong story you're going to share with your mates in the UK?
For me, I've had 21 fabulous years. I've been so lucky to work in Hong Kong China Rugby. We have an amazing community, a vibrant community, and I think we've achieved some great things. My successor has been named. He is a great guy, James Farndon, and I'm confident that he's going to take our Hong Kong China Rugby and our community to even greater things in the years ahead. I personally, Hong Kong is my home. I've lived in Hong Kong for more than 30 years. I'm staying in Hong Kong 100%, and I hope to be able to contribute still to the sports and events industry going forward.
Right, thank you, Robbie, for all your hard work. And let's take a break now, but viewers, stay tuned. We will be right back with more on the Hong Kong Sevens. Welcome back to Straight Talk on how the Hong Kong Sevens became magnificent. Our next two guests are former French rugby union player Benjamin Kaiser and Gabriella Rivers, a local rugby player representing Hong Kong this year in the Seven Series. Benjamin has 16 years of national and international level championship experience and is now a renowned TV commentator on international rugby. Welcome, Ben and Gabby.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ben, I know you have a bit of a Hong Kong connection. You told me you actually study here. Can you share with us your Hong Kong story?
So in 1996, I was lucky enough for my dad's travels that brought us here. He was a consultant, and we lived here for a year. And this is where I actually discovered rugby. I went to school at the French International High School, and the PE teacher was Stuart Cron, who was the number 8 and captain of the Hong Kong rugby team. Wow. So he took me down to Valley Rugby Club, and that's where I discovered and fell in love with the sport.
Right. So from then you become a French international player.
Yes. Well, look, I was hooked by the brotherhood, the solidarity, the beauty of the sports, using the big guys and the small guys. In French we say the piano players and the piano movers. That's what you need in rugby. You need a bit of everything.
Right.
And then it became my career, yes.
Right. Any memories that brought you back with your childhood days?
Oh, a lot of them. I was actually here in 1996 as a ball boy. So when I saw the kids, doing the parade at 2 p.m. yesterday, that was me 27 years ago. So it felt really close to my heart, special, very, very fond memories.
Right. So Gabby, you came to Hong Kong when I believe you were 6.
Yes.
And then you're now studying law at Bond University in Australia.
Yes.
And now you're also playing for Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a bit about your training and how Hong Kong has actually helped you to develop rugby as a sport?
Yeah, so the Hong Kong program has been really helpful with keeping me in the loop, but also allowing me to explore my interests outside of rugby. And so I went off to university in 2021, and every tournament that was important to the team, I came back and I trained as hard as I could, and it was my devotion to the team to continue to be involved regardless of my studies in Australia.
So how does you feel to play in front of this crowd in Hong Kong?
Oh, it's unbelievable. 40,000 eyes watching, and they're all cheering for you, supporting you, and I know friends and families are in there cheering the loudest for me, so yeah, it's unbelievable.
Right, Ben, as you said, you have played for France, and you've also been to the rest of the world. Why is it so special that Hong Kong Sevens attract so many fans? What is it so magnificent as a word we use?
I just think it's a unique blend of exoticism, of a door to Asia, but also this quite a heartwarming thing to know that you can travel everywhere in the world, but there's something that connects rugby fans. You like the social side, you like the rivalry on the pitch, you like the respect, you like the discipline, the drive, the mindset, the toughness. And when you come here, you find all those elements with an extra element of fun. I mean, the South Stand is just something absolutely unique in the world.
Right, so you've been to other cities, they've got the Sevens, but Hong Kong is special.
It's absolutely special. It's the one that everybody needs to tick as a player. It's a bucket list. And if you haven't really well performed in the Hong Kong series, then you haven't really done your international career in Sevens, period.
Right. So Gabby, rugby Sevens is known to be fast-paced and also physically demanding. How would you say that from your side of being a part of the Hong Kong team? How do we fit in the greater scheme of things?
I mean, the Sevens is such an intense sport. Like, you train all year round to play 14 minutes of game time. So I think in terms of fitness and speed, Hong Kong are up there. I think we just need more experience playing against the best of the world, and yeah, I think we could get there. Yeah, I think we really could.
Yeah. So Ben, you're familiar with our local and Asian teams, I'm sure. What are your thoughts of the Hong Kong and China rugby, especially the women's team, in the rest of the world standards?
Well, look, we were speaking about it before the interview. For me, rugby sevens or women's rugby is the fastest growing sport in the world. It really has this extra element of inclusion that rugby has to represent. So seeing it so embedded in the way that Hong Kong and Chinese rugby wants to go to, I think it's tremendous. They are a role. You don't want to know it because you're very, very young, but you're a role model for young children that will do it and will understand that rugby is a possibility for them. And they can thrive, they can have fun, they can perform, and they can, you know, get a crowd on their feet. So I think it's brilliant.
Right. So Gabby, you're now also a full-time student. How do you balance between training and studies, and how do you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, I mean, we have a pretty young squad, so I'm not the only student, and the hard work that goes into doing both, it's a lot, but the coaches and management are really good at keeping us involved, but also allowing us the time to study as well. But it's about your own discipline and your own responsibility and accountability to make sure that you thrive in both environments.
Right, and then how does your parents support you in all this?
Well, I have differing opinions from both my mum and dad, obviously.
Really?
My mum really supports me education-wise, and my dad is probably my #1 biggest fan in rugby.
Really?
So it's good having both my mum and dad support both aspects of my life as well.
Right, so Ben, you're back here now after all these years. I can feel the thrill that you have, feeling the crowd and having talked to young players like Gabby. Where do you see Hong Kong's rugby will be evolved from here? I mean, we will have a new high-tech stadium next year with more people be able to watch. How do you see Hong Kong rugby being evolving, or even China in general?
I genuinely don't understand how it can become better. So if there's a new facility, then I've seen only a glimpse of it, but it looks outstanding. If they're going to move from such a unique gem of a stadium like this one, it's to get something even bigger, even more pushed on the entertainment side. So I'm really looking forward to coming back and to see how well they can do. And now if Chinese rugby wants to embrace and get even more traction, I think it's a sensational thing that they should do. Because rugby is a school of life. Rugby is a way of uniting people. Rugby is a way of having discipline, but also having fun. And the more I see it, the more it really warms my heart to see that there's more countries that are picking up and embracing this love that we share for rugby.
Right, Gabby, I could ask you again, being a lady yourself, I mean, you look very feminine, and you're going to play in such a heavy contact sport. So is rugby a good sport for ladies, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much power and strength that you get from being in the sport, and you learn so much about yourself and how much strength that you have. And I think it's a form of discipline to continue to train and push the boundaries regardless of what people think of you and what people think of women in this sport. I absolutely love the physical aspect of it. It's probably one of my greatest attributes. Yeah, I love it.
Have you ever got injured at all?
Not really. I mean, my shoulders a few times trying to hit above my weight, but yeah, no, I've been fortunate to avoid any serious injuries so far.
Ben, have you ever been injured? Because as a spectator, we see that it's very heavy contact sport, and do people get injuries often?
Well, I think unfortunately you're very young. Touch wood, you're not. But yes, I was injured many times. But look, it's part of rugby. You got to take care of yourself. And I think as long as it's not, you know, the neck or the heads, then we just take the pain and take the love with it.
Right, you're playing for France and seeing the rest of the world. What would you recommend to the youngsters in Hong Kong who aspire to be like Gabby, playing for Hong Kong one day? What would be your advice for them if they want to play international rugby one day?
Well, funnily enough, I would advise exactly like Gabby to stick with her studies, because it pushes you for extra discipline, an extra mindset, an extra drive, and that's a great balance to have, so that rugby stays a passionate moment and just pleasure, not something that you have to do, something that you want to do. So I would just push them to embrace every single experience that is out there, travel the world, meet new people, test yourself by being able to play in different countries, because obviously rugby is appreciated and done and performed in different ways in different places. So keep up with your studies so that you have a well-balanced life, and then grab every opportunity that's out there.
Right, Gabby, I'm going to ask you the last question. You can take the time and tell the viewers, what do you think Hong Kong's Rugby Sevens are so magnificent? That title of the show us.
I mean, for such a small community, we have such extraordinary players. Like some of these girls are absolutely world class, and I think we have so much growth and development coming within the younger group. Watching the young girls that are coming through the program, I have so much hope and optimism for the program in the future. But I think watching the girls train every day, I just think they're extraordinary,
right.
Extraordinary players and people.
Right, Ben, I'm going to give you a last question. Hong Kong been through quite a bit of stress the last few years. We had social unrest, we had 3 years of pandemic, and the rest of the world saying Hong Kong is different to what we were before. How will you answer to that question?
Well, I think 42% of the people who were in the stands come from overseas, so certainly the love of Hong Kong is not gone. People were desperate to come back, and you could feel the passion and the love for the place in the stands everywhere. I think you underestimate how everybody is so impressed by the performance on the pitch, and so I think the love is still there. I think the appreciation is still there, and I think for many, many years to come it will be there.
Right, you know, the chief executive will be coming today. What will be your wish list? You can speak to the chief executive now. How will you want him to support the rugby?
Support rugby? Well, more funding in schools, more resources for players to be able to allocate even more time to the sport. Maybe more resources to develop the next generation of coaching, because you're only going to get a proper dynasty of rugby if you have outstanding coaches that will breed the new generation there. Just more resources, because it's a sport that can transform a whole society, and I really do think a lot of resources have to be allocated to it.
Right, Gabby?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the foundation of rugby is your youth, and I think if you have good coaches to bring up that youth through the program, it opens so many doors once they reach an age where they're able to compete properly. So yeah, I would say allocation of resources is...
Right, okay, thank you to Robbie, Ben and Gabby for sharing their personal experiences and insights into how our rugby sevens became magnificent. This tournament is not only a celebration of rugby, but also embodies the very essence of Hong Kong's vibrant spirit and international appeal. As Nelson Mandela said, sport has the power to unite people in a way little else does. Have a good evening and see you next week.